Moving on to our next story, Iraqi troops backed by volunteer forces continue operations to recapture the strategic city of Tikrit from the ISIL terrorists.
God willing, we will enter Tikrit today. We hope that the end of ISIL in Tikrit will be today.
Iraqi troops were seen engaging targets with machine guns and a rocket launcher. The army earlier killed 67 ISIL Takfiri terrorists in separate operations in the cities of Tikrit and Ramadi. The operations for the complete liberation of Tikrit have resumed after a 10-day pause to let civilians leave this city. Tikrit was seized by the ISIL in June last year. The city's recapture is crucial for the Iraqi army in its quest to retake control of the country's second largest city, Mosul, north of Baghdad. Rashan Saglam joins us now from the front lines in Tikrit with the latest updates from the resumption of the Iraqi army's operations for the liberation of Tikrit from the ISIL. Rashan.
Yes, Bardia. Actually, I just came from a 2 hours trip. I was right after I crossed the Shishin Valley, which is right behind us, and I was 150 meters away from the Tikrit hospital. Now, of course, the Iraqi forces are all spread over there, and the volunteer forces are also in the area. They told us that the snipers are still inside the hospital, and actually when I was doing one of my interviews with the Iraqi forces over there, a sniper shot towards us. The bullet was right next to me. I saw it, and it was really frightening because they were so close to us and they could get us at any minute. Now, we spoke to some Iraqi officials who told us that after they got closer to the ISIL militants, they are now trying to cleanse the houses that are surrounding the hospital and then move towards the hospital. So now only 150 separates between the Iraqi forces and the ISIL. We have to say here that the Iraqi forces have been shelling the hospital since the morning with mortar shells, with rockets, and also the Iraqi Air Force have been conducting airstrikes towards the ISIL militants. We also on our way towards the Iraqi forces that are stationed, I don't know if you can see them through my camera, that are stationed like 150 meters away from the hospital. We saw some ISIL militants' bodies that are still on the road over there, because the clashes were still fresh this morning, and the advances of the Iraqi forces to this area where we were actually minutes ago are still fresh, and they just got there into that area. Now, let me here mention, Bardia, that the US-led coalition today did not carry any airstrike. Also last night did not carry any airstrike. I don't know if you could hear that. This is okay, this is, I don't know if my cameraman can show you, you can see clearly that ISIL militants are using the chlorine substance, the chlorine gas, in their explosive devices. This is one of the explosive devices that just went off, and the orange smoke or orange plume shows that it is a significant use of the chlorine. It is due to the use of a chlorine. I don't know if the camera could catch that, or if you were able to see that. As I was just saying, that the US-led coalition did not conduct any airstrikes last night or this morning. There is no presence of it. We hear the aircrafts roaming the skies of the center of Tikrit. However, they did not conduct any airstrikes. It is only the Iraqi Air Force that is conducting airstrikes. And when speaking to the soldiers here, they told us that even before the suspension of the operations here in Tikrit, they were able to get rid of ISIL militants, and they were able to advance really quickly. Now, due to the intervention of the US-led coalition, the advances are really slow. So they are saying there is no need for the US-led coalition. The Iraqi Air Force could have been enough to end the battle. And just to mention here, we have only 2.5 kilometers that are under the control of ISIL militants. The rest is under the control of the Iraqi forces.
Thank you very much, Rashan Saglam, our correspondent, joining us from the front lines of the battle against the ISIL in Tikrit.